Welcome in, whiskey freaks, to the Blind Tasting Podcast, your number one attitudinal bourbon destination. I'm John Stark, your host, and I'll be bringing you all kinds of whiskey news. Naturally, you're going to get my opinion, and we're going to talk about the industry and the products they've been bringing us for hundreds of years. Today, instead of talking distilled spirits, we're going to talk actual spirits, and we're going to get with our special guest, a paranormal investigator, and we're going to find out whether or not a ghost really haunts the Jim Beam warehouse in Claremont, Kentucky. And we're finally going to get the inside scoop. Yeah, no, we are not doing any of that nonsense today, guys. The only spirits we're going to worry about right now is brown spirits, the good stuff, bourbon whiskey. Guys, we actually could have an episode like that, believe it or not. Rumor has it that Warehouse D at the Jim Beam Distillery has had apparitions, figures walking up and down the stairs, a man wearing overalls hiding behind barrels. It's kind of a thing, so it's not completely off base. But no, we're not going to do any of that stuff today. Today we focus on nothing but bourbon-y goodness, because I got all kinds of things to throw your way, and we might just learn something while we're at it. I've got a new release from our good friends at Woodford Reserve, and then we're heading across the pond. We're heading over to Scotland to check out it's a crazy experiment they got going on at the Stirling Distillery. And finally, I review a bottle that's been in the news a lot lately. Weller Antique 107 Straight Bourbon Whiskey from our good friends at Buffalo Trace. So here's the deal. Woodford Reserve just dropped one of its most talked about bottles this year with the release of Double Oaked, and it's part of their ongoing distillery series. I've talked about it before. This is the bourbon that already spent 5 to 7 years aging in a new oak barrel. Then it went back into a second heavily toasted and lightly charred barrel for up to 2 more years. Hence the name, Double Oaked. They didn't stutter. It comes in at 90.4 proof. Yeah, I know. And for this 90.4 proof dandy, it carries a suggested retail price of $199.99 for a 700 milliliter bottle. And yes, I checked the website. It's just a 700. That's the picture they showed. $199.99. Now, the release was available briefly at the Woodford Reserve Distillery in Versailles, Kentucky the other day, and now it can be found at select retailers nationwide. And when they say select, they really mean it. Woodford, they haven't released bottle counts on this one, nor have they confirmed any sellout numbers, and they certainly didn't promise you'll see this on any shelf anywhere near where you live. Okay, well, actually, they do say select retailers, and we all know what that means. That means secondary. So if you find one, congrats. If you don't, it's not a conspiracy, guys. That's just how these things work nowadays. Master distiller Elizabeth McCall says the extended double barreling creates deeper flavor and more complexity, which is the whole point of the distillery series in the first place. These releases are about experimentation, pushing oak influence, and giving people something different than the standard lineup that costs a fortune. I added that last part. The color is roasted coffee bean. The nose is a robust medley of rich maple syrup, dark butterscotch, brittle caramel. I'm not sure what brittle caramel is. Anyway, bittersweet chocolate, burnt marshmallow, and sweet hickory smoke notes dominate the nose. The taste is rich dried cherry and cranberry fruit, swimming in a blackberry jam, brightened with hints of ripe apple, chai tea, and warming clove notes developed to spice up the palate. My lord, the finish is warm and drying with a lingering clove character. Now, I like that lingering clove character, and the last time I experienced a lingering clove character was in a bottle of Rebel, I think it was small batch reserve. I think it was 110 proof. It was $40. I got it here in town 2 years ago, and the first bottle was gone really quick. It had this beautiful, just a little bit of clove on the back end. And I don't love clove in like food and things, but it was fantastic the way it just was on the back end. I bought another bottle of it. The clove is gone. So I don't understand that. But again, that's why I keep notes. That's why I have a notebook. That's why I track these things. Anyway, so lingering clove character on this double oaked beauty. So that's the deal, guys. Double oaked. It's real and it's out there. It's out there somewhere and it's expensive. Whether it's worth $200, well, you might just want to run that by the wife before you grab a hold of it. Because let's face it, some of these distillery series offerings have been pretty lackluster. I say if you can find it somewhere or maybe a buddy has it, taste it before you go crazy and pay out the nose for it. So over to Scotland we do go. And truth be told, I don't talk about Scotch whiskey on here much. I rank it bourbon, rye, Irish, and Scotch. And that's the way I look at the whole whiskey world. But today I couldn't let this news go by without saying something here on the podcast. And Whiskey Freaks, I did not have this one on my 2026 bingo card. A Scottish distillery is seriously looking at putting whiskey in aluminum bottles, like a giant, very expensive can. Yeah, think about that for a minute. Sterling Distillery, they're a newer player in Scotland. They haven't even released their first single malt yet. Yeah, they're experimenting with aluminum packaging as a more environmentally friendly alternative to glass bottles. Now, they're saying the idea isn't totally out of left field. They say wineries have already started using aluminum bottles. I haven't seen that, but I don't drink wine. They use them because they're lighter, they're easier to recycle, they chill faster, and quite frankly, they're cheaper to ship. So naturally, somebody in the bourbon world or the whiskey world said, why not whiskey? So Sterling is working with researchers at Heriot-Watt University over in I believe in the UK, to see if aluminum can actually handle high-proof spirits. That's a problem because when you put high-proof spirits into these aluminum bottles, it turns into a wacky science experiment. Okay, at least one type of aluminum bottle that they tried, it completely failed the testing. And the researchers found that aluminum particles were found inside the whiskey, like a lot. So that's not great for a first run. Definitely not ideal to have aluminum in your whiskey. They say tasting and testing is still ongoing. But the big question is whether there's a commercially available aluminum bottle with a liner that can safely hold whiskey strength alcohol without affecting flavor or safety. I mean, I'm thinking, yeah. So the answer right now is still very much, we don't know. They can crack this code. They say the upside is huge, both for the environment, for the planet, and for the businesses, quite frankly, because, like I said, it's way cheaper to ship cases of aluminum whiskey than glass. And so that's going to be a plus all the way around. But to me, part of the whiskey's appeal when I buy a bottle is seeing the liquid in the bottle. Now, if you listen to the podcast, I always say don't gauge entirely what you think about a whiskey by what you see in the bottle, but I like seeing it in the bottle. That's the way I feel about it. And some of you are thinking we already get our Budweiser and our Yingling and our Busch Lattes in aluminum, right? And that's fair to say, but we also, to my knowledge, don't get a bunch of aluminum when we drink it. Look, as for me, I'm not looking forward to it myself, but they haven't put me in charge of international whiskey packaging yet. So I guess we're going to get what we're going to get, right? My call, if it's up to me, no aluminum bottles. So keep an eye out. The future of whiskey packaging might look a little bit different here in the near future. I don't know, but whether that's progress or heresy, well, it's still up for debate. If I hear any more about this one, guys, I'll let y'all know. All right, Whiskey Freaks, let's get to the fun part now, my review. Today, I am very excited to crack open a very special bottle. And it's special for a couple reasons. First, it's allocated, or at least it was. Okay, it's not allocated, but it is from Buffalo Trace, and it's very, very hard to find. And second, there's a place near me. It's called the Bottle Shop here in Illinois. Pretty creative name for a liquor store, right? Anyway, that's what it's called. And every year, the day after Christmas, they drop a bottle. They drop a barrel pick, a bottle of Weller Antique 107. And sadly, okay, maybe not sadly, but every year we go to Kentucky to see her folks. And that means I am never home the day after Christmas. If you want to break into my house, that's the day. Until this year. Yes, we were home. Her folks actually came to visit us here. And so the day after Christmas, I got in line with 100 other sheep and I got my bottle. And the cool thing this year is it was like a twofer. He had the Weller Antique 107 alongside a 7-year Yellowstone pick. So for $200, you got both. So I finally got one, and I'm going to review it here today for y'all. And look, I'm not doing a bunch of history today. I'm not in the mood. I'm just going to get to tasting and reviewing. Hope that's okay with y'all, but that's the way we're going to do it. Now, I will say, this is considered to be the original wheated bourbon. It's known officially as W.L. Weller Antique 107. And they say it's a robust wheated bourbon bottled at 107 proof that offers a full-bodied flavor with a bold, balanced finish. It remains a favorite among enthusiasts for its strength and smoothness. And yeah, sometimes you'll see it called Old Weller Antique or abbreviated OWA. It all basically means the same thing. Now, the company is Sazerac. The distillery is our good friends at Buffalo Trace down in Frankfort, Kentucky. Okay, the bottle. I really don't think I need to talk about the bottle or describe it. It's that red Weller bottle. You know, the rainbow of Weller. Excuse me. This is the red one. Y'all know it. The age. It is non-age stated, but it is believed to be somewhere between 6 and 8 years old. And the mash bill is undisclosed because Buffalo Trace. But we do know it's a wheated mash bill, and the word on the street is it's 70% corn. That's the word on the street. Don't want to be sued here, right? The word on the street is it's 70% corn, 16% wheat, and 14% malted barley. And you know what, guys? If you just told us what the mash bill was, we wouldn't have to try to dream this stuff up. So I found that information on Al Gore's amazing internet, but I cannot confirm. Don't want to be sued again. I hear people are being sued by Buffalo Trace for giving the wrong mash bill out. So, hey, I'm doing my best here, guys. And if you would just tell us, I wouldn't have to guess. Anyway, that's Buffalo Trace. So today I'm tasting with a Glencairn, my favorite limestone branch Glencairn, actually. And I hope to review Yellowstone in the next week or two. And we are going to use the limestone branch Glencairn for that as well. So let me crack this bottle open, and I'm going to try not to cut my hand off with my knife. Gotta get this damn wrapper off of here. God damn it, you fucking thing. Okay, I got this bad boy open. I still have all my fingers. This knife is really sharp. Okay, I know I talked about what I paid for the 2-bottle deal I got after Christmas, but if you head out to Frankfort, Kentucky to the Buffalo Trace gift shop, and this has been in the news recently, it's actually in the regular rotation now. They've replaced Weller Special Reserve with OWA, so they rotate Blanton's, E.H. Taylor, Small Batch, Eagle Rare, and now OWA. Most days you can pick this up for $59.99 a bottle at the gift shop. And I know that sounds crazy, but folks, times, they are a-changing. If you find this bad boy in the wild, you're going to pay anywhere from $150 to $200 for it. And I hope that price will start coming down too. A lot of folks don't get to Kentucky. They don't have that opportunity. But that's been my experience anyway around here, $150 to $200. So let me pour a little bit of this into my Glencairn. And I say this every time. I'm going to be quick about it. Never judge the color in the bottle. This has a gigantic label on the bottle. It's very hard to tell what color this whiskey is. Not that you should put all of your faith in the color of a whiskey, but you should probably evaluate it in your glass. Sometimes it lets you know the breadth of flavors you're about to put in your mouth. That's all I'm going to say. So the color of this one, I've got a tremendous amount of light down here in the bunker, and I would call this a light butterscotch color. And the legs in here, oh my God. The legs, I love how when I poured it into the glass, it actually bubbled. That's unusual, right? And when I'm moving it back and forth in the Glencairn, it's dripping down the insides of the Glencairn very nicely. This is a sticky one, and I love that. That is definitely a good sign. Let me nose this. Wow. So, first off, let me just say, it's 107 proof. I'm getting 0 alcohol. I know it's ethanol, guys. I call it out. I'm getting 0 on the nose. And, I mean, yeah, I can't even tell it's 107 by the nose. Sometimes you can, sometimes you're like, holy shit. Not the case here. It is, if you said barely noticeable, I'd go along with that. So there's lots of caramel. Maybe a little dusty corn in here too. And okay, along with that, maybe I'm confusing the two, but there's this bready note in here too. This like baked bread note. I guess it could be both, right? The dusty corn and kind of a bready note. Yeah. There's this terrific dark fruity note in here too, like jammy, I guess you would say. It's luscious, really. Best way I could describe it is if you guys, again, if you listen, you know I bought a triple fruit jam from kind of compote thing from Target last year. That's what this is. It's some kind of triple, and I can't remember. There was like blackberries, blueberries, and some other berry. It was some compote. That's what I'm getting here. This dark fruitiness. Gosh, there's so much in here. There's this beautiful sweet vanilla note and the slightest like wood chippy note. I can't look. I'm not that great at this, guys. I can't pinpoint what type of wood it is. Oh, it's cedar. Sometimes you can tell cedar, but I don't know if this is the hickory tree or if this is I don't know. It is a wood chip note. That's the best I can do. And I swear I'm getting strawberries. I don't know, guys. If the nose on this thing is anything what I think it might be, this is going to be epic. Or as the cool kids say, it's going to be cinema. All right, let me get a sip of this thing. It's 107 proof. Here we go. Let me do that bit more of that Kentucky chew. Yeah, this mouthfeel is terrific. It's rich, it's oily, it's chewy. You can't say that very often. And it reminds me of something. Stuff remind me of things. You guys ever notice that? Things remind me of stuff. I remember crazy, stupid shit all the time. Anyway, this reminds me of something I picked up back in 2019 from Lux Row. If you guys have ever heard of Lux Row 12-year double barrel, you can't find it anywhere anymore, especially this one from back in 2019. It's the first year they put this thing out, and it came in at, I think it was somewhere around 115 or 116 proof. I get the same, if I'm remembering it right, I'm getting a similar mouthfeel from it. Now remember, that's 12 years old. What we're tasting today, this Weller OWA, 6 to 8, and I'm getting a similar mouthfeel from it. Anyway, I might dig that bottle out of the pile and side by side it. In fact, Shit. Let me hang just tight, guys. I am going to dig this thing out. I will be right back. I promise it won't be. And I might have to cut this out of the podcast this few seconds I'm gone. Just 1 second. Okay, good news. I was able to find it. It's in this like cloth bag. It's like how Blanton's comes in a cloth bag and Crown comes in a cloth bag. This stuff, and it doesn't come in a cloth bag anymore. The Luxro 12 year. This one did. It was the first year. It came in a beautiful like canvas like cloth bag. Anyway, I was able to find it. It is a 12-year offering from Luxro. It is 118.4 proof. So yeah, very close on that. I'm going to set it here, and we're going to talk about that hopefully in a few minutes here. So back to the 107. And I might, like I said, I might sip this other guy at the end, but I want to talk about the 107 again. And what I need to do is I need to get another sip of the Weller 107. Okay. Yeah. The mouthfeel on the 107, it's spectacular. It's got this velvety goodness going on for sure. I'm loving it. If I was judging based on mouthfeel, based on initial flavor profile, this is a big winner. But still got a little ways to go here. Right, I say this sometimes, right off the bat, that's kind of how I start. I'm getting this kind of bitter dark chocolate note, and I don't mean that in, sometimes you'll get a dark chocolate and it'll be like an 80% dark chocolate. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the 60% dark chocolate. It's kind of like those meltaways that I eat from the Nebraska, from that Baker's Candy in Nebraska. I talked to you guys about before. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit of dark chocolate note there for me. Very much getting a cherry flavor in here, like dark ripe cherries. Lots of cherry in here. Did I say cherries? Yes, I said cherries. And you can't say this very often, but I'm getting a tinge of plum. Yeah, actually, a tinge of plum. Let me get another sip. Guys, this is so creamy. I cannot get enough of this mouthfeel. And I'm getting this just a little bit of orange zestiness note in here. I love that. And there's vanilla. I don't know if I mentioned vanilla yet, but there's vanilla. Did I mention cherry? And guys, I'm telling you, I got it on the nose. There is a strawberry note in here too. Let me get one more sip. This is making my mouth water. It's so good. Okay. You're thinking, Stark, you haven't said oak at all. Well, there is a nice gentle oakiness in here. And here, now that I've sipped it, 5 times or so, there's the slightest bit of pepper on the finish. But this thing, guys, this thing is checking a lot of boxes for me. And that leads me to the verdict. So what is the verdict? I'll have the answer right after the money spot. Are you looking to update your bar or man cave with some great photographs or wall art? Head over to Etsy at famousdocs.etsy.com and pick up some fantastic prohibition, bourbon, whiskey, and gangster-related photographs and wall art. Guys, you got to check this stuff out. They got Al Capone, John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, all kinds of cool prohibition photos over there. Perfect to decorate your bar or your man cave or your bunker. And if you purchase 4 or more items at one time, you'll get 20% off your entire order for a limited time. That's famousdocs.etsy.com. famousdocs.etsy.com. And that link will be in the show notes. So if you listen to the Blind Tasting Podcast, you know there are 3 verdict possibilities. And those 3 verdict possibilities are, we going to keep it, collect it, or cull it? To keep it means to proudly display it in your liquor cabinet or bar, yada, yada, yada. To collect it, you're going to want to grab another bottle or maybe 2 since it's so damn good, or it just may be hard to find. And lastly, cull it. Use it to loosen rusty bolts, or sanitize a dirty toilet. In the case of Weller Antique 107 straight bourbon whiskey, I say keep it. Look, guys, this is sweet. It's flavorful, and it's got just enough spice in here to let you know it's 107 proof and somewhere between 6 and 8 years old. And I feel like it punches above its weight, really. And especially if you can get it for $59 at the distillery. Now, I'm not sad that I paid much more than for mine. I did, truth be told. This is also a barrel pick. So you got to factor whatever else you want to say about it being a barrel pick. But honestly, I've had some pretty terrible barrel picks before. And I'm going to tell you why. We're going to peek behind the curtain. Sometimes when you go to do a barrel pick, let's say they give you 4 samples to taste. Now those samples, or at least a few of those samples, are most likely samples that some other club or some other liquor store or some rich bastard podcaster, they've passed on it, right? It's stuff they've passed on, some of it. So it doesn't mean you got 4 terrific bourbons to choose from. It just means you got 4 choices. Now, that's not always the case, but I've seen it happen, and so I wanted to mention it to you guys. A barrel pick, yeah, it's really truly a barrel pick, but it doesn't mean it's a good pick. In this case, on the other hand, Bobby and his crew at the bottle shop did very well. So I want to give those guys a round of applause. Anyway, so I want to side-by-side this Weller 107 with my Lux Row 12-year-old double barrel from way back. Let's get in the time machine and go back to 2019. It was the inaugural bottle for this offering at Lux Row. I was lucky enough to be there at the distillery when they had it in stock. I didn't know they were dropping this thing. I'm glad I was there. I think I paid $150 for it. And the next year, I think they did the same type of offering, the 12-year double barrel for, I think it was $170 at that point. Anyway, that was back in 2020. That was a shit show. That's a whole different story. So I think they raised the price to $170 that year. Let me pour a splash of both because I'm running out of the OWA and I need to get some of that double barrel here. Okay, got a little bit of the OWA. And I have been, oh man, this is such a quality pour. Good gracious. So here's my dilemma about that 12-year double barrel that I got in 2019. You never know what you got till you open it. And I didn't open this thing until I got home to Illinois. And I didn't really know what I had. It was too late. Right? Now, that being said, at Lux Row, they normally, whatever they have in the gift shop, typically you can taste it. They have a bar set up that you can taste at for a small fee, right? You can taste it before you buy it. But I don't think it was an option to try this one first. So I kind of took a flyer on this one because it was a limited edition inaugural special release. It came in the fun thing. I was like, yes, sir, I will take one of those. So I kind of missed out on a backup bottle, and I've never seen this one since. So yeah, sad for me, right? All right, so I've got a little bit of each of these poured, and I want to take a sip of the 12-year double barrel. Wow, that is just as good as I remember it. I haven't opened this bottle. I haven't cracked this one open. It's been 2.5 years, I think. Yeah, it's been at least 2.5 years since I've sipped on this one. It is not disappointing me. Let me take a sip of the Old Weller Antique 107. Wow, this is close, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I cannot believe how close this is. Oh, the finish on this 12-year double barrel Lux Row. just a little bit longer and a little bit more body to it. Like I said, this Weller 107 to me is chewy. This 12-year Lux Row, a little chewier, I guess would be the best way, a little more body to it. But I'm telling you what, damn, I wish I would have blinded these. This would have been a fun blind. I didn't think about it till halfway through the damn podcast. Gosh, these, like I said, I paid $150 for this 12-year. And this barrel pick here of this Weller is holding its own. Look, it's the red bottle, right? It's the red bottle here. You've probably seen it floating around for like what, $100 to $200. If you don't get to the distillery and you get it for $59.99, which is insanity, you're going to pay. I've never seen it for $100. I've seen it for $200. I've seen it for $150. Here's the deal. Now that I've got one in my hands, I probably wouldn't pay more than $100 for it. But knowing that it holds its own against this 12-year offering, maybe I'd go to $125. I don't know. If I ever hit the distillery, I'll tell you what, you better believe I'm grabbing whatever I can get my hands on. I'm bringing the wife, maybe even thinking about picking up random folks at the Piggly Wiggly to come with us and help score some of this 107. Look, guys, I am not going to bribe anybody at the 7-Eleven, at the Piggly Wiggly, but the thought has crossed my mind. Look, if you don't have one yet, maybe splurge on a Friday, maybe splurge on payday. You get that bonus, right? Spend $100, maybe $125-ish. I don't think I would pay $200 for it. I mean, it's a tough call. I get it. Money's tight these days. I'm hopeful that with the offering being at the distillery now on a regular rotating basis, this thing is going to come down at your local liquor stores. But here's what I can tell you about it. This is a fine bourbon. There's no alcohol punch on the nose. There is a whole slew, I'm talking a plethora of aromas. And for those of you with infinity bottles, plethora means a shitload. On the palate, it's this creamy cherry and to my palate, strawberry and vanilla, a little bit of oak. It's, dare I say, smooth. It's balanced. Guys, it's just enjoyable. And look, I know if you can't wait till next year when Bobby's got another barrel pick of Weller 107 here in town, and you don't live in our town, you best hunt one down. Trust me, this one's worth adding to your liquor cabinet. Last but not least, guys, I got to give a shout out to the farmers, the distillery production guys and gals, the warehouse workers busting their asses, the bottlers and the truck drivers. They're the ones that make all of this happen for us. So cheers to all of them. Well, that's all I've got for today, Whiskey Freaks. I really appreciate you listening to the Blind Tasting Podcast. Please subscribe on YouTube and Apple and iHeart and Amazon. Don't forget Amazon. Everywhere you find podcasts, you can find this podcast. Subscribe to all of them. It helps the visibility, it helps get the word out, and it helps all the whiskey freaks enjoy the Blind Tasting Podcast. I'll see you all next time.